What's up, true believers? It is I, the OGGM. It's 9 o'clock in the morning on this Friday of Halloween weekend. It's about 64 degrees and dry and sunny here at Site B. It's Halloween weekend, so please be careful. Keep your pets indoors, especially on Monday. If you're going to go at night, wear bright clothes because we know there's going to be people drinking and driving. And remember also, if you have any leftover candy, send it my way. And in another episode of Why Is This a Thing / I Can't Make This Stuff Up, we're going to address a question I found on Twitter yesterday. Is 5th edition the same as Dungeons & Dragons Wizards of the Coast 5th edition? Because it seems that 5th edition is going in one direction, and Wizards of the Coast Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition is going in a different direction. So is 5th edition and Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition from Wizards of the Coast the same thing? And the answer is yes. Yes, it is. And also, no. No, it's not. What do I mean by that? Well, in order to really understand what I mean by that, you kind of have to understand the whole open game license thing and the 5th edition SRD and what the difference between the 5th edition SRD open game license and Wizards of the Coast D&D product is. So without getting too complicated and legal, because if I wanted to get deep into how the open game license works, you would need an attorney, a mathematician, a headlamp, some rope, and some mining picks. But basically, the 5th edition system reference document is available to anyone. You, me, Steve the Cat, anyone can have access to the 5th edition system reference document for free online. You can download this. The open game license is available to anyone. You can find it on the Wizards of the Coast page. You can find it on Drive-Thru RPG. You can find it at the DM's Guild, whatever. The open game license currently says pretty much as long as you follow about 5 steps, you can publish a 5th edition adventure or a 5th edition supplement or a 5th edition game using the 5th edition SRD open game license. This is how companies like Goodman Games and EN Publishing and Kobold Press and Evil Hat can make product that says 5th edition on it or says D20. Because 5th edition, the SRD, is the engine that runs the D20 system that is currently being used for 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons. That system is a separate entity, and therefore, as long as you follow certain rules, you can use the open game license and create 5th edition product. Is Kobold Press, when it puts out a 5th edition adventure, or is Paizo when it puts out a 5th edition conversion of a Pathfinder adventure path, is that official Dungeons & Dragons? No, it is not. It can be used with Dungeons & Dragons. It uses the same mechanics as what we know as current 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons. There might be some changes. For example, the 5th edition superhero role-playing games, or the 5th edition science fiction games, or the 5th edition modern day games, or the 5th edition horror games. They look drastically different than Dungeons & Dragons, but they're using the same mechanics, or some version of the same mechanics. You can change a lot as long as you still follow the few basic things and still call it 5th edition. As long as you're using the general engine, as long as you're recognizing that strength, dex, con, intelligence, wisdom, charisma, armor class, hit points, level are all 5th edition things, and that Wizards of the Coast has some say and on some weird level makes some money off of that, but barely any little. Wizards of the Coast is saying, yeah, you can use strength, dex, con, intelligence, wisdom, charisma, armor class, hit points, the basic engine, the basic numbers, the basic math, anything that's in the SRD in some form. You can even change it around and still call it 5th edition. A 5th edition superhero game is probably going to look a lot different than anything Wizards of the Coast makes for Dungeons & Dragons. So, just because it says 5th edition on it, like a 5th edition superhero role-playing game, does not mean it is a Dungeons & Dragons product. But you, me, Steve the Cat, can download the SRD, follow the steps in the current SRD 5th edition OGL, and release 5th edition product and not get any trouble. It can even be for use with 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons. Okay, so that is how they are the same. That is also how they are different, because you can do anything you want with the 5th edition as long as you follow certain steps. You can even say it's for use with Dungeons & Dragons. All right. But only Wizards of the Coast can produce official 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons product. So that is how it is different. You can make a 5th edition superhero role-playing game, but you cannot make an official 5th edition Wizards of the Coast Dungeons & Dragons product. Only Wizards of the Coast can make official Wizards of the Coast Dungeons & Dragons product. And basically, where's my player's handbook? That right there. That D and that and sign and the D and the and sign and the shape of the dragon, only Wizards of the Coast can use this. Only Wizards of the Coast can say Dungeons and Dragons in big red whatever blood on the cover. Only Wizards of the Coast can use this and this and this. Only Wizards of the Coast can use this. But you can use a D20. You can write a game that says 5th edition on it, or for use with 5th edition, or based upon 5th edition, or 5th edition superheroes, or whatever. That's fine. That's how they're the same. How they're different is only Wizards of the Coast can make official canon, here we go again, canon, Wizards of the Coast Dungeons & Dragons products. Only Wizards of the Coast can use that symbol. Nobody else can. Have I explained the difference? So to break it down, is there a difference between 5th edition and 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons? Yes, there is. And no, there isn't. Hopefully I have clarified this or made it far more confusing. Either way, this point is sort of mute because with the 50th anniversary coming up and OneD&D, everything's going to change. Kablooey. I'm the OG GM. If you appreciate this nonsense, let me know. If you never want to hear me talk about this topic ever again, let me know. If you haven't had a chance to subscribe, please subscribe. Please support me so I can feed Steve the Cat, because Steve the Cat wants to make his own 5th edition product. Till next time, stay safe.